Alright, so I have this Bravos high efficiency washer machine, and this is the second time this has done this to me, so I figured I'd videotape it this time. So you see that centerpiece right there? It's supposed to, when you spin, stay still with the rest of the bucket. So I'm going to start this here. See how it's spun real fast? Yeah, that means it's not working right. So basically there's a drive hub in there, a piece of plastic, mounts the drive shaft from the transmission to the basket, and it holds everything together, and it's not being held together. So what I have to do is I'm gonna pull this part out, take the nut out, and then this whole top piece pops off. So I'm gonna start by doing that, and then I'll show you the rest. Alright, so for the first part, just gotta pop the cap off. Comes up pretty easy, and there's gunk in there, a little dirty. Get grossed out easy, this is not something you want to do. That nut in there is 11 millimeter. Easiest way to take it off is with an impact. Pops right out. And I didn't take this apart ahead of time. This is the first time I'm taking it apart in 5 months. So I replaced this, well, you'll see what I did 5 months ago. I basically replaced it in the last about 2 days. So I did my own little fix, which lasted 5 months. So you gotta get this next part off. It's on there pretty tight. If you're worried about marring this up a little bit, you can put like some rubber or something between it, but you basically have to pull on it. It does not come off easy. This is actually the hardest part of the whole job. All right, 2 pair of vice grips. I tried with 2 vice grips. Does not come off easy. It is a pain. It's a stupid design. There's no way to get underneath it to pry it up. And I've looked at other videos, and they have to pull it. It's a pain in the butt. It is actually starting to come up. It's a bit of work. See, real easy. Yeah. Thanks, Maytag designers. We're like hackers. Okay. So, I had to pull pretty hard. So what I did last time, I'll do it this time. I just took a utility knife, cleaned that up so it wouldn't catch on the clothes, but it's still usable. Oh, and underneath, yeah, it gets dirty. And then this here is mild steel, which is stupid. Should be brass or something, and it rusts onto the transmission. So you got the two transmission shafts coming out here, and then this here is that hub piece. So normally, if you catch it early enough, this piece strips out and the shaft is fine. On mine, the shaft is actually stripped underneath. So when I put my new hub on, it only lasted about a day, and it started spinning again. So what I did is I took it apart, put JB Weld on it, and then put it back together, and it held up 5 months like that. Otherwise, the only other way to fix it is to buy a new transmission. So we'll see if that comes off okay. I can see how it's spun on the JB Weld there. Yeah, that's what's left of my JB Weld. It held up for a while. I think I'm gonna score this out a little more, and hopefully it'll stick better. Okay, so you just have these 6 screws to pull out, plus this piece, if it'll come out, since I had it welded in there. Well, I guess I should try to get that out first. I'm not even sure how I'm going to get that out with that welded in there. So this is a little clip that's supposed to go between the 2 gears underneath, and it just, I don't know, just holds it at the right level, I guess. I don't know what else it would do. Worst case, I might just break it off. I'll get a bigger screwdriver, see if I can pry it out of there. Okay, a little bigger screwdriver, hopefully I can get some leverage on this. That side's starting to come out. Camera's kind of in my way. Alright, now we can get to all the screws. Okay, now let's pry this ring out. So, there's supposed to be little gear teeth in here. And those gear teeth match up with those outer gear teeth. If you run your finger on there, there's gear teeth at the bottom, and there's a smooth spot, and then gear teeth at the top. And this piece is what hooks to your agitator and goes around. So there's two different pieces right there. So what happens is, this thing wears out, and when this whole thing is supposed to hold to do the spin, it just spins around and the agitator goes flying around, but the drum doesn't move because this gear slipped. And it's a very common problem on these, and it's stupid. So my gears down here, see if I get close up. Let's see. Focus. So my gears at the bottom are wore out. They're like almost smooth. Top ones are fine. So I'm gonna clean that up, and then I'm gonna score this out a little bit so there's a place for the JB Weld to set, and I'm gonna JB Weld it back in. Because otherwise it's like $300 for a transmission, and that's if you put it in yourself. So. Alright, I took the Dremel and I put little grooves in this, so that'll give a spot for the JB Weld to go into when I go around the shaft, and I'll make that JB Weld a little thicker. And if we look down here, you can see I cleaned it up the best I could. It's kind of hard to get in there, and I don't really have anything to clean it with, but it's dry, so I'm gonna put JB Weld around everything and put together, and then we'll I'll let it set for overnight, and hopefully tomorrow it'll be fixed, at least for a while. So this is the JB Weld I'm using. You can see on there. So this is good for 5020 psi. It sets in 4 to 6 hours, cures in 15 to 24 hours, and it'll be dark gray. So it's a two-part. You mix it together, and then you get a little time to work with it before it starts curing. So you get like a couple hours before it starts hardening up on you. Alright, so these are 1-to-1, and these are new. When you look at the tip, there's actually a little point thing in there. You open these up, and it's sealed. Little point thing, you just push it in, and it comes out. So we'll put down a bead of this one. We'll do the same with the other one. So the first one was the hardener, and this one is the resin. And we just mix them up till they're the same color. Alright, so we're just going to take that and smear it around inside here. Okay, so just a rough coating on it. And I'm going to put a little bit on the other side, and then we'll put the two together. So this top part is where the agitator goes. We don't want any on that. It's just the bottom part. And most of it's on the other side anyways. So these parts line up with these parts, and the screws line up with the screws. So we'll just put that on there, turn it to where it lines up with the screw, press it down. This pin goes back through. I'll go put the screws in first. Screwing this into plastic so don't go crazy with the impact. So you can see the JB Weld starting to come out around, but it's not against this shaft. This shaft here has to spin separate of that. So when you're agitating, this is going to spin one way and the bucket's going to spin the opposite. So now we just wait till tomorrow and we see if we'll do a test run before I put the agitator back on, make sure it's spinning the right way and it's holding, and then put it together and be able to do laundry again. So normally this would be the proper fix. You just stick this on here and that fixes it, but because my gears are all wore out, I have to JB Weld it, and I'm probably gonna end up buying a new transmission this summer. So, but this is the quick fix that'll get you going again. Okay, it's been just over 24 hours since I put the JB Weld on. It should be all hardened up now. So now I'm gonna set the washer to spin and start it up, and we'll see what happens. See, everything's spun. That's a good thing. So now I'm gonna put the thing together and the top on the agitator, and should be able to do a load of laundry. So you can see when I had the vice grips on this, I mean, it marred it up some. So I'm going to clean that up a little bit with the utility knife so it doesn't catch on my clothes, and then I'll put that back in. Alright, I'm going to put this back together. So one thing to note is all these little holes here. Those are your drain holes when your water is getting sucked out of the out of the basin here, and it is a good idea to put some tape over those holes when you're working on it so you don't drop the screws and stuff in. If you look in there, you'll probably see money in there, because sometimes pennies and stuff drop in there. It doesn't hurt anything for them to be in there. Last time I did this, I dug out probably $1 worth of change. There might be like 1 or 2 in there now, so I'm not going to worry about it. Doesn't affect anything. So alright, got that cleaned up. So this just goes on top, pushes down, and then put the nut back in. That bolt. That bolt is actually stainless. That's like the only thing on here is stainless, other than the bin itself. And if you're like, hey, why don't you put some grease on there? Well, this is where your clothes go. You don't. The water runs through this and all through here, and that grease would get in your clothes, so you really can't put anything on it. So putting it back together is good. Now this should be nice and tight. Now before this would spin. Now it's tight. Another thing I've learned on this is the last time when I spun, the whole basket was like bouncing around, and it turned out it has to do with the springs that are on the corners. And because I was pulling up on that, sometimes you pull the springs up. So if you just give this a good couple push downs, sure it kind of locks in place. All right, so now let's turn it on and see what happens. So right now I have it set it to spin mode. Drain and spin is what it's called. So it's doing its little sense thing, and it's getting ready to spin now. Right up to speed. It's like turbo mode. Alright, I think it's time to do a load of laundry. Everything seems to be working. Alright, one more quick shot. I got the washer set up to do a normal wash. I just got 2 towels in there. So we'll just let it fill up, and you'll see everything's fine. So when it was broke, when it did that little spin right there, the 2 parts didn't spin together. They should always spin together when it's doing its fill up. When it agitates, they actually go opposite directions. And if you've never seen one of these run, it's kind of neat having the glass top. When we first got this washer, when we set it up and started running it, we looked at it and we're like, what the heck is that? Because it's the weirdest wash. It's like, how does that get your clothes clean? But it does. I normally run it on deep wash just because it just seems weird to have very little water in there when you're doing your laundry. But for the video here, I'll put it on what they call normal wash. That's how I wash clothes. So we'll see how long it lasts this time. It lasted 5 months last time I did this. This time I took the Dremel and opened up the slots a little bit in the one piece to give the JB Weld someplace to go so it can be a little thicker. So hopefully it helps. Otherwise, next time I'll just be getting another transmission because that's the only way I can really permanently fix it.